Lots to get through tonight with my panel, Michael Kroger and Stephen Conroy. Welcome to you both. Let's jump right in. Starting with the Australians Newspoll on the Australian public's reaction to the federal budget. It's found Treasurer Jim Chalmers failed to convince Australians that the budget will actually reduce inflation. Only 13% believe it will, and only 20% of voters say they'll be better off financially thanks to the budget. Stephen, your reaction?
Well, I'm pleased to see the Australian public is across a contractionary or inflationary budget. And as Paul Keating once famously said, you know, every pet shop guy's got a view on this issue. But I mean, seriously, a poll asking the broad Australian public what do they think about whether it was inflationary or not, you're bound to get a quite perverse response. I mean, there's also been another poll out just late this afternoon, Rita, which shows that strong support for all of the individual measures, and Labor's economic management polling went up. So there's two conflicting polls out, one showing the punters aren't as happy, one showing that they actually give the government an increased tick for the budget.
Michael, I've got to say, I do wonder how many people are standing around the water cooler talking about how inflationary the budget is. But like that seems like to be an interesting question to poll them on.
Rita, they get that inflation will add to interest rate pressure, so they understand that. They understand that. So yeah, they intuitively think if you spend more money, there's more money out there for us to buy goods and services. You know, more money with the same number of goods. That's inflationary. They tend to get all this stuff. So Michael, Stephen doesn't think the electorate are geniuses, but they're not experts on inflation. But they understand the basic. They understand the basic way it works. I think. So.
Michael, I'll invite you to read a good friend of yours column, Terry McCrann. Terry McCrann wrote in black and white, this is not an inflationary budget. In black and white.
He did, and then he was on this show saying the same thing.
He was saying he's taking that view.
But let's move on to this, because this is going to add to the budget woes, Michael. Aussie taxpayers will be forced to foot a hefty bill following the government's decision to grant residency to thousands of New Zealanders. The welfare bill that would result from the increase is estimated to be $1.2 billion. Stephen, I cannot imagine this would be a popular decision. Why is Labor doing this?
Look, this one, I've got to confess, this one caught me by surprise. I just wasn't sure what the rationale behind it was, and I'm frankly hoping to hear one.
From the Labor Party.
It genuinely caught me by surprise.
Michael, are they hoping that these people are Labor voters and that's why they're granting them residency and probably citizenship?
Let's be completely conspiratorial, Rita, and assume that they are of the middle to lower socio-economic group.
Well, if they're on
they don't vote for Labor. And the Labor Party in New Zealand gets a third of the vote.
Yeah. So you can assume that there are more Labor voters coming than not. But someone should tell them that there's nowhere for them to actually stay. I mean, there are no houses.
Let's not start on this absolute lie being told by Peter Dutton.
Where are people going to live? Where are people going to live?
Seriously. Peter Dutton predicted when he was in charge of immigration as Home Affairs, he gave a 5-year forecast that said that we would get to this number that he's now complaining about, saying it's a whole Adelaide. He predicted a whole new Adelaide in a 5-year forecast. He did. Let's be clear.
That doesn't change the fact that it's going to add to our housing crisis, the fact that we've got construction at a very low point.
I'm terribly sorry, but they actually reduced the number of permanent migrants from 195 to 190. Permanent. That's the key. That's the number who are going to demand housing.
Temporary ones still have to live somewhere.
Yes, and
just because they're temporary doesn't mean they could be in a tent.
Let me tell you why you're wrong. Okay, let me tell you why you're wrong. Because an overwhelming number of these are students. And
they still live
they don't need houses.
And apartments.
Well, let me break this to you gently. I actually work for a company that provides student accommodation. And you know what? During COVID, you know what our vacancy rate was? We've got 4,000 beds in Melbourne. 15%. You know what it normally is? 95%. See, there's all these towers of student accommodation still empty in Melbourne.
So they're
actually going into...
So this
and Rita,
I declared it.
There's plenty
but I'm making the point.
There's plenty of accommodation.
The mass amount of numbers that are coming in there are students who actually are going to fill existing student accommodation.
And 8 New Zealanders to every one-bedroom flat, they're going to love it. They're going to love it.
And I just don't understand why New Zealanders who are from a first world nation need to be granted residency. It's not like this is a compassionate decision. It's just bizarre.